So SGA is questionable, not just with like a minor thing. He's questionable with a knee strain, which is, could be concerning. Like if there's an MRI that pops up, he could be out for significant time, and we'd do an emergency pod on that and react to all that with MVP and everything else. But Jim, give me the read on this Thunder plus 1.5 and walk me through your injury contingency handicap.
Yeah, I think the injury contingency to start is perfect because this really is it. We talk all the time about how the books, when they open these numbers and there's a player as central as SGA, who you could make the cases, in that 5-point swing type of player season right now, they kind of land it in the middle. So if Shea doesn't play, I'm going to be on them. But if Shea does play, I'm kind of in your world of like, there's a lot of leeway on this. So right now they're plus 1.5. I'm kind of reading this as the book see him as about a 4-point player. And so if he plays, it's going to be, right around a pick 'em, maybe even Thunder by a 0.5 point. If he doesn't, I think it will go out to around plus 3.5. I will be taking them either way though. I have this, if he does play, I have it around Thunder -6. If he doesn't, I have it still Thunder as small favorites. The Laker team, again, they are not that good of a team, and it amazes me that the books keep hanging these opening numbers for them that we're able to fade. They have popped up and played a couple of decent games of late, but this is a very paltry offense. This is the Thunder, the type of team that is just going to be able to run the Lakers out of the gym. So I really do like this, on almost any sort of way. I just want to wait and see where it lands so that I know which of these two tacks I'm taking.
Do you think this is a halfway number or a full number for Shea?
I think it's a halfway number. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a halfway number, which is really interesting. So there's some numbers coming up. But I'm going to try and make this as like narrative-y as possible. All right. A book posted look ahead lines for MLK Day because it's a major day on the schedule, which is great because we get to compare what did bookmakers think before we had data on this season and what do they think in this moment right now. And the look ahead line on this was Lakers -4.5. Okay. So if Shea is out, right, then this looks very weird. Like, how much would you adjust from a full season number from Lakers -4.5 to now? Because I will just tell you straight up right now that I have the Lakers as significant dogs.
Yeah.
If this is a full strength matchup, like
100%.
Jim, do you have a number on this?
Yeah, I think it was 6 is the number that I have if SGA is full strength is what
so
I
the
have
Lakers,
at least.
So the Lakers have been awesome at home. Okay. With a normalized home court, I have this at normalized. Like if you just give the Lakers like normal home court, I have the Lakers as 8.5 point underdogs at home. Now, I am not saying that that's like the best accurate number because when you factor in how good LA's been at home, this gets down to the Lakers should be 2.2. And so then if you're like, all right, let's say that Shea is worth 6 points to the spread because he's that dominant, that's an MVP level adjustment to the spread. So it's a little heavy, to be quite honest. Then this is like a halfway number that makes a little bit of sense. This is a 3.5 point move from where I would have it. Still, it's like that's a little bit heavy, honestly, right? So I don't think that the Thunder are that much worse without Shea. What I do think though is that every indication here is that the Thunder are still not getting the Thunder are getting more credit in the market. The Thunder are still not getting enough credit in the market because if this is a halfway number, let's say it's 5, right? And so this would go to Lakers -4. That doesn't make any sense, right? If it's halfway, if we push it to 2.5, if Shea's out, that wasn't making any sense. Would the Lakers be 4-point favorites over the Thunder without Shea Gilgeous-Alexander? Maybe, but that seems extremely heavy versus like Thunder -1. If we move it 2.5 the other way, okay, maybe. I still think that's light, Joe. Like, I still think that that's light based off of the disparity between these two teams, regardless of, and I understand the pushback, which is like Shea is their entire team. Their whole offense is built around him. I agree. But no player can be worth that much to the spread to make this number make sense. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it has to do with, right, like if we look at the season numbers, OKC was -5 when they played back in November. Then they were -3.5 when they played in December. So I guess like when you look at that and you say like, all right, well, like both of those games were in OKC, and then we look at this game as being played in LA. Like you said, the Lakers have a tremendous edge in terms of playing at home. I think maybe you can get to that like 2 point spot, but based on your numbers, you can't. Like I think based on the
Right.
priors that we have, like sure, this is probably appropriate, but I think that based on the way that your numbers are coming in and the way that you're looking at it, it doesn't really make sense. The one thing that I will say, looking at this and we look at OKC's schedule, they play the Lakers and then they play the Clippers. Looking at where the Thunder are in the standings right now, I know that a lot of times we talk about saying, well, it's a lot more important to win the games that you can definitely win and then go and try to win. And then, like, you know, if it's a coin flippy game because the next game is against the Clippers, then maybe you rest against the Clippers. The only thing that I think is that they don't really match up great with the Lakers. Like, I don't love the matchup from a personnel perspective just because of the fact that you have like AD on Chet, that
Yep.
type of matchup. Like, I don't love it. I think that OKC might match up a little bit better against the Clippers. So that to them might be like the easier game of the two. So when you look at this, the fact that it's a back to back, both games in LA, maybe this is actually the full number of, you know, the +2, or and maybe it'll only go to maybe like a +3 when he's formally ruled out. And I think that might make a little bit more sense, just based on the fact that when we look at the schedule, I think that, you know, they've split so far this season. But I do think that the matchup might be slightly better for them against the Clippers on Tuesday. Give Shea that extra day of rest. That's probably the way that I would look at this. So I think that like that's why the line is where it is.
I think that for me, like I don't want. I kind of mentioned now, like if Shea plays at any number, I don't want it without Shea. It's a letdown spot for the Lakers for sure. Like
Yeah.
I'm always very big on those letdown spots and how the market overreacts, but I do think that I want Shea just because I'm like I will feel very confident in OKC after losing to the Lakers in OKC previously. I will very much like OKC with Shea, and I just won't like them as much, like enough without Shea. Even if I think the number's wrong, Jim, that doesn't mean that I have to bet it. So I'm not going to bet it if Shea doesn't play. Are you going to bet it regardless?
I think I will, mostly because I think Shea is potentially at that, you know, like you mentioned 6 point. I think his level of play is right around that. I mean, he's putting together a, you know, borderline MVP season. But the Thunder to me are among the teams like when you look at Jokic and the Nuggets, there's not at all a like for like, and there isn't a like for Shea. And like you said, he does drive a lot of their offense, but they have such better depth than a lot of teams. I think that, you know, when we talk about, you know, a player goes out, it's you know, someone gets moved from the bench, but someone gets moved out of the rotation into the rotation. The Thunder can handle those moves a lot better than some other teams when they're missing their stars. So even though Shea is at that 6 point level potentially, with a roster like the Thunder, I weigh that a tiny bit less. And I think the market still is at that point of weighing it a little bit more. And really, this is, you know, it is kind of market play of I have the market has been low on the Thunder all year and high on the Lakers all year. And you know, when you get two teams on opposing sides like that, it's always like I picked this out before I saw the line when I was doing prep earlier in the week. I was like, that's probably a game I'm be looking at. Now, I don't want you to think I'm coming in here just confirming my preconceived notions. Then the number came out, and I crunched the stuff. I just wanted to make sure to kind of, you know, take a look at it earlier, and it did indeed match. So I'm almost certainly going to be on them either way. It would really have to be that, you know, they had been including him as out already, and you know, the line doesn't really move, and then he's out, and it's only +1.5. I don't see that being the case,
Yeah.
But that would be the only case in which I'd be hesitant.
I love the under in this game. I love the under in this game. First off, Lakers home unders are 14-7 this season. The Lakers, if they win this game, it's probably going to be with defense because they're able to slow down OKC's offense. Because I will say that, like, the biggest kind of thing, if you want to try and knock OKC, is like they've had exceptional shooting luck early this season. They are one of the highest differentials between location, effective field goal percentage, and actually. I've got this all the way down at 228. So there is like no way I can get here. This is my biggest advantage on the board for an under on the slate. So I'm going to be on the under regardless here. I think it's a great spot for an under. I think OKC's defense, even with, because part of it's like Davis can score efficiently and they still don't seem to go over. Here's a corresponding trend, which is, and this backs up both Jim and my play. Lakers this season at home versus teams over 500 are 6-4 straight up, 4-6 against the spread for just 40%. 2 of those wins are versus the Clippers, including one when they were a mess early in the season. Another was versus the Rockets. Another was versus the shorthanded Magic, and another was versus the Suns. So like, not the even the wins don't project awesome, and the overall mark is not good. Also, Lakers versus teams over 500 at home, the under is 8-2 this season. So I've got a lot of trends there. I like this to be a lower scoring game. This is just a really high number. I like under 238 and a half.